Good afternoon, everyone. It's not very often that I get a chance to say this, but I agree with the AFGE, American Federation of Government Employees, who largest government employees union, who said earlier this week that the Democrats need to reopen the government and start getting federal employees paid again. And on that point, they are absolutely right. This is going to get worse as the week goes on, as time goes on. You've already seen the impacts. Federal workers missed their first paycheck last Friday. ATC employees are going to miss their paycheck today. If by the end of the week this isn't over, there are going to be 40 million Americans who are not going to have food assistance. And you add on top of that Head Start and telehealth. There are people who are getting their medical appointments canceled because of this shutdown. And it needs to end. It just needs to end. And we have made it abundantly clear, every elected official here has made it abundantly clear that we are more than happy to sit down with the Democrats and talk about other issues, whether it's the unaffordability and unsustainability of Obamacare. We're happy to have that conversation, but we can't do it with, as Chuck Schumer has said in the past, a gun to our heads. It's just that simple. So they're going to have several opportunities again to vote to reopen the government. And I sincerely hope, in the best interest of every American who is impacted by this shutdown, and particularly those who are going to be really adversely impacted come this weekend, that enough Democrats will come to their senses and deliver the 5 votes that are necessary to get this bill on the President's desk. And remind everybody knows it, this bill passed the House a month ago. It is sitting at the desk in the Senate. We can pick it up today, pass it, put it on the President's desk. It will be signed into law. The government reopens today. That's all it takes, and that's really what this is all about. They're trying to make it about other issues, and like I said, we're perfectly happy to have that conversation. I spoke with the President last night. He's happy to sit down with the Democrats next week to talk about Obamacare, but you can't do that when the government is shut down. That would be subject, again, to them voting to reopen the government. So let's hope that this week is the week in which enough sane Democrats come to the conclusion that it's not in their interest, and certainly not in the interest of the American people, to keep the government shut down. Questions?
Are you inclined to continue to put up these standalone bills that perhaps pay the military, to pay federal workers, to provide SNAP assistance, or do you think it has to be done all in one fell swoop?
I don't know. I mean, this piecemeal approach where you do one off here, one off there, to make it seem, more politically palatable to somebody or less painful, it's just the wrong way to do this. There's just a simple way to do it, is to pick up the bill on the desk of the Senate and give us 5 more Democrat votes to pass it, so that the President can sign it into law and end the shutdown. I get the rationale. People think about these issues in terms of, well, this one, let's do this one, or this one. But that's not the way to approach this. The way to approach this is to reopen the government.
Senator Murkowski yesterday said we should be here working until we solve this here. Can you characterize some of the discontent among senators who say this isn't getting worked out? And to Ryan's point, the idea here that maybe you should vote on something different than what you've been voting on for weeks now.
Well, and we have voted on something different a couple of different times, as you know. We voted on the defense appropriation bills. They blocked it. We're trying to go to conference on the 3 bills that we've already passed, including the ag bill, which, by the way, would fund SNAP. And they're blocking us from going to conference on that. And last week we voted on a Ron Johnson bill that would pay everybody who is currently working. I don't know how you defend or justify not paying people who are actually working, but they voted against that. So, I'm open to suggestions, obviously, and we've had people throw out different ideas about when we ought to be here and we shouldn't be here, but it doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense to just repetitively now go down and have the Democrats vote over and over again against opening the government. And so I'm not sure. We'll obviously have that conversation with our conference, but the value of being here for the weekend.
In past shutdowns, there have been Republicans and Democratic administrations have tapped into contingency funds to help pay for these expiring SNAP benefits. Why not do that now to allow for this lifeline to continue for at least a few more weeks for people who really need it?
Well, does it make any sense to any American, with the exception of obviously it would benefit people who are receiving food assistance through SNAP, but to keep the government shut down for another 3 weeks? Why wouldn't you just open it up and have everybody get their benefits now? Again, I don't understand the thinking or the rationale behind, doing these one-off, rifle shots to try and do pieces of this and pieces of this. I think the White House obviously is faced with a tough decision. They have to figure out how do they, reallocate, reprioritize funding, where it goes, where it doesn't go, and they're doing everything they can legally and with the capacity that they have available to them to try and make this, I think, as painless as possible. But there is a point at which they don't have that capacity anymore, and I think we've reached that point. I think they're at a point now where the government either has to open up, the White House can try and reallocate, move money around, but I think we're at a point now where it's simply a question of whether or not the Democrats are, there are enough Democrats with enough backbone and enough courage to take on their left-wing groups out there. I mean, when you get a union like the AFGE who comes out and says, open up the government, I mean, that is about as reliable of a Democrat constituency as you can possibly have. And yet that's the conclusion they came to. But they seem more interested right now in what MoveOn.org and Indivisible and No Kings and all these crazy left-wing groups have to say. I mean, they are scared of them. They're just flat scared of them. It's that simple. And that's why we need some courageous Democrats with a backbone who are willing to walk out there and deliver the 5 votes that are necessary to get the government back open.
Will you keep the Senate in session this weekend, sir, if you don't have this resolved? Give the first.